thank you to the organizing committee to have invited me to present our Aquatic Concussion Return to Play protocol that we use at the Canadian Sports Institute in Montreal. Sport-related concussion is well known and well recognized for contact sport like American football, ice hockey, soccer, and other sports. The literature for sport-related concussion in aquatic sport is almost inexistent. The protocol I will present to you today is the one we have developed through the years working with aquatic sport at the INS. It is still a work in progress, and few studies are underway to validate our protocol. I will present to you our clinical evaluation so far of these protocols. I don't have any conflict of interest. The general recommendation for return to sport after concussion are well known for decades. Rest until symptom-free was believed to be the key factor to allow safe return to sport. There were always questions about how long should someone rest when symptoms are not resolving in a short time, like within 10 days. Recent literature questioned more and more the duration of rest. Based on other injuries like MSK problems, more literature now emerged to show that early physical stimulation within certain limits might be more beneficial for the brain than total rest for a prolonged period. At our institute for the past years, we moved to these recommendations of getting the athlete to do physical activities in the process earlier in the process under the supervision of our brain trauma kinesiologists. Our water polo divers, synchronized swimmers are evaluated for baseline testing at the beginning of the season. These baseline testing include neuropsychological testing, computerized and paper and pencil tests, ortho test evaluation, orthostatic evaluation for the autonomic nervous system, and motor control test. 2 to 5 days after a concussion, athletes are evaluated by the kinesiologist to determine the heart rate symptoms threshold. Athlete is also seen at that time by the visual specialist. Based on their evaluation, a rehab program is put in place, supervised by the team therapist and team physician. Neuropsychological evaluation will take place after step 4. As mentioned on the previous slide, we adapted the step 2 of the general protocol. Initial rest is still important for the first few days where the symptoms are important and multiple. When the initial days of intense symptoms are done, a supervised incremental walking incline test is done to determine the threshold heart rate at which symptoms increase. At the same evaluation, we do an orthostatic testing to see how the sympathetic and parasympathetic system are regulated. Up to now, we have seen three trends. First one, collapse of both systems. The second one, the dominance of the sympathetic system, and the third one, dominance of the parasympathetic system. Analysis of the autonomic nervous system is done through the spectral analysis of the heart rate variability monitoring. Interval cardiovascular program will be prescribed and monitored to make sure heart rate decline between each step to favor sympathetic and parasympathetic regulation. Heart rate variability will be monitored through all the steps up to step 6. To adapt the step 3 to 6 to aquatic sport, we had to work with coaches in all disciplines to well understand their training session and adapt each step to their specific requests for their sport in respect of the limitation of the brain recovery from concussion. Clear statement was agreed between coaches and athletes, which helped to maintain athlete and coaches' collaboration through the step and motivation of the athlete to be involved in his rehab. Using the heart rate monitor through all the steps guide both athlete and coaches on the progress and facilitate the adhesion of both parties to the program. So now moving to specific return to play for each sport, starting with water polo. Water polo is well known as a sport of high degree of physicality and aggressive play. There is a considerable risk of physical injury from elbow, kicks, high velocity hits by the ball, and other consequences of the game. A recent study that was mentioned yesterday from USA College water polo athletes gave some numbers of the incidence of concussion in water polo. From their study, 36% of players reported at least one concussion while playing. These numbers are not so different to the most popular sports where 20 to 30% of athletes report experiencing at least one concussion while playing. Goalies are at significant risk for concussion, reporting significantly more concussion and appear to experience a qualitatively different type of head impact, mainly from the ball, compared to other positions, which can be by the ball or the player elbow, kick on the head, or other type of contact. All positions except goalies report more blows during games compared to practice. For the goalie, they report a mean of 2.8 blows during practice versus 1.8 during game. This study is the first one looking specifically at the incidence of concussion in water polo and show the intensity and risk for concussion of this aquatic sport. In our experience at the INS, we had between 5 to 8 concussions per season, either goalies or players. As mentioned, goalies are at high risk for concussion. As their training is different than players, we adapt a specific return to sport protocol for them. On the next few slides, you will see the specific protocol for the step 3 to 5 for water polo. The goal for step 3 is to return to physical activities in high intensity specific to the sport. For the goalie specific protocol, only the technical part for that step differs from the players. Step 4 is a progressive return to simple drill without contact, and there is increased resistance training for the strength and conditioning part. For this step, cardiovascular and technical work differ from player to goalie. On step 5, the goal is to return to full drills with the team, introduce contact with opponents, and ramp up decision-making complexity in game scenarios. At that step, training for players and goalie are very different. Activation, cardiovascular, and technical work differ from player to goalie to be specific for each other. So now moving to synchronized swimming. Again, there is no literature specific to sport-related concussion in synchronized swimming. Based on our experience working with the synchronized swimming team, we registered an average of 1 to 3 concussions per season. The most common mechanisms are head-to-head impact while grouping together, elbow, foot, knee to the head, fall from a highlight, and egg beater kick to the head. Synchronized swimming is a very demanding sport. Athletes need to combine technically, physically, and aesthetically very demanding exercises, lasting about 2 to 4 minutes, performed at increasingly high level of intensity, both breathing freely and holding breath. Almost 50% of the time is spent in apnea. The sport required high level of aerobic and anaerobic endurance, as well as exceptional breath control when upside down underwater. Impact of repetitive apnea has been studied so far only in apnea divers. A recent study of Rodriguez Zamora on the physiological response in relation to performance during competition in elite synchronized swimmers showed alternation between tachycardia up to 190 and bradycardia as low as 88 during the routine, where marked bradycardia is noticed during the high-intensity exercise groups performed in apnea. In our experience, introducing exercises in apnea is one very challenging part for the progression of movement. Neurocognitive recovery is another part of the challenge for synchronized swimmers to get back to the sport. One study in 2006 from Gidgway and McFarland on breath-holding divers wanted to evaluate if there are neurocognitive deficits related to repetitive apnea. The result did not demonstrate any impact on performance on standard neuropsychological tasks for this population. However, the lack of group statistical significance does not rule out completely lasting neurocognitive deficit, and a more power and larger sample size study need to be done, and synchronized swimmers should be included in this type of study. Because of the challenge with apnea and cognitive demand, we end up with 8 steps instead of the regular 6 steps for other sport. Video analysis were integrated into the protocol, as it is often part of their training session. Step 4 and 5 are the steps where we introduce immersion of the head. Heads up, so apnea without physical activity. On step 6, progression are done to head down, head underwater with physical activity, and synchro elements with music. On step 7, front and back dives for entry to water are introduced with almost full regular routine. Step 8 is the full return to competition and training. Finally, what about diving? Again, there is no literature on concussion on diving. It is believed that a good technique for entry into water might protect the head brain from the impact. The palm of the hand should make contact with the water first to initiate a good entry. As the hands strike the water, the head is moved in line with the trunk, the arms squeeze the ears, the scapula is elevated, and the arms push through the water, in effect punching a hole in water. This technique of entering the water protects the head by placing disproportional stress on the hands, wrist, and shoulder of the diver, thus avoiding impact and rotational stress of the head. It creates an air pocket by which the body can enter into the water with little or no splash, indirectly minimizing the impact of the head. This is probably largely responsible of the belief that there is no concussion in diving. A very small and limited study was done in 2003 by Zillmer on 1 and 3 meter springboard college diver to examine the possible cumulative and acute neuropsychological effect of repetitive dive, to determine the degree of brain injury as reflected by abnormal result on neurocognitive tests. The sample size was very small, 3 athletes for the 1 meter springboard and 3 athletes for the 3 meter springboard. Serial assessment was done during the training of 50 dives, and evaluations were done after each series of 10 dives. They did not demonstrate any neuropsychological deficit. As mentioned, there are very few limitations of this study, and one of the examples is the market practice effect that occur over the 5 trials of testing. So further studies still need to be done in diving. We have to remember that speed of entry in water is quite high. It is estimated at 30 km per hour for the 3 meter springboard, 40 km per hour for the 5 meter, and 50 to 60 km per hour at the 10 meter platform. In our experience with diving, the most common mechanisms are bad entry into the water, whiplash mechanism caused by bad entry, getting lost during a twist, and although less frequent, head contact with the board. The challenge for return to sport protocol we have faced with diving was full recovery of cognitive and motor control and step-by-step progression of the height of the dives. Vestibular function has been evaluated to be as an abnormality that have been reported in diving. They are felt to be a result of multiple mechanisms. As an example, the upside down position, alteration due to gravity, repeated change in linear acceleration, rotational stimuli elicited by somersault and twist, and movement of the cervical spine. I know it's very small, just to show you the complexity of the diving protocol. It seems more complex. The reason why it includes all height of dive. It will take longer for a 10-meter diver to be back on the 10-meter platform, but that doesn't mean that he or she will not train at all. The progression is based on height of the board, the difficulty of the dive itself, the amount of stress put on the brain during the execution of the dive. Therefore, it is possible that during the protocol, some dives technically easier will be permitted later in the progress. It is simply because the amount of stress put on the brain. And it will be, and the complexity or the complexity of the motor common in those dives, as an example, the arm standing. To conclude, more studies are needed in aquatic sport on sport-related concussion. Time for complete rest need to be evaluated, and graded return to physical activities while symptomatic still need to be validated. And treatment should be individualized based on clinical judgment and sport-specific tasks. Thank you for your attention.